Well, this project really is about the celebration of Irish food heritage and how that heritage unites us all in terms of the various cultures throughout Ireland, and how Irish food has travelled to the New World. Really about celebrating that food and celebrating that heritage, and the fact that there's a strong story behind it, that it does unite us all. And you know, it's really about tracing the various names, like John Paul Getty. It's also about tracing the McCains, of McCain's Tips to New Brunswick, who were also pioneer settlers that travelled from here, Derry, to the New World. So it's a really exciting project in terms of how Irish food has developed as well. You know, there's been so much written about how the Irish founded all our nations, but there's been very little written about how Irish food has fueled them in that process. So I'm really excited about it with regards to the Gettys and John Paul Getty and the Gettys that founded Gettysburg, and you know, those foods that travelled to the New World. Okay, well, we're hoping to talk to a lot of exciting historians, people that have claimed that they are related to John Paul Getty and are from the Northwest. You know, and we're hoping they talk to them, because they have their own sort of oral testimonies that things have been brought down throughout their family history, that they were actually related to the Gettys themselves. And you know, also we're hoping to talk to historians in Gettysburg and the United States, and trying to make a connection as well. You know, very little was known about the Gettys once they left here, and you know, maybe very little was known while they were here as well. So we're hoping to make that connection throughout the world with various historians and experts in their field. You know, so it's very exciting. So tell me more about your connection with the Gettys, Robert.
Well, all I can really tell you is what my grandfather told me. Now, my grandfather was 93 when he died in 1960. Now, I was a very young teenager at that time, and my grandfather did tend to torture me about the Gettys. Now, I'll be honest, the Gettys didn't mean much to me then, but he did go on about them, how they went to America and prospered and did very, very well. And he claimed at the time that Gettysburg, that's where the name Gettysburg came from. When they went out there, Gettysburg, apparently, it was only there was nothing there, but apparently he either built Gettysburg or was involved in it.
Yeah, well, funny you should say that. Through my research, like this guy Samuel Getty, who first left from Derry, or the port of Londonderry, he went to a place called Adams County, and he opened an inn or a tavern there, Robert. You know?
Yes.
And what happened there was his son built plots of land, or sold off plots of land around it, and then it became Gettysburg. So, so they must have been linked in some way, you know, the Gettys and the John Paul Getty link, you know.
Yeah.
So,
well, my grandfather did also claim that John Paul Getty, that his wife was Lynch, and he claimed, whether he's right or not, I don't know. He claimed that she was his great aunt, or going back in generations, that she was definitely married on one of the Lynches. Whether that's right or not, I cannot say.
Again, as I was saying there about my own research too, you know, they can be traced back to Akadui, you know, but I've heard through family lore, people have actually contacted me and says that they've always heard about the connection with the Lynches and this part of the river here, the River Faughan, you know. So
well, there is no doubt that the Gettys originated from this area. Now, apparently, Lisneal, where Lisneal College is built up there, that was the original Getty homestead. Now, there was also, I believe, Gettys lived up at a place called Ardnagunnock, which is not too far from here.
Is Ardnagunnock, is this a townland here in Ardnagunnock, or is this, how far away would that be?
Ardnagunnock is about a mile as the crow flies from here, just up the way. Now, apparently there's a stone or something up there that was taken off a wall that's still there.
Right.
With Gettys, some of the Gettys are inscribed on it.
Okay, we're cooking here on the Hearth Crane Crook, and really this is the sort of cooking implements that people would have used about 200 years ago. So what we have here, we've got the crane. The crane is actually an authentic crane that was taken from one of the big houses, and we've also got the crook here. And the crook basically was like the knob of your cooker, where you could have moved it up and down, moved the pots up and down to prevent the food from burning. And there was great skill actually cooking on the hearth and on the pot oven here, where people would have baked breads. they would have actually put the bread in the pot and then put coals on top of the lid. And that would have given radiant heat. So there's great skill actually knowing which coals to use to prevent the bread from burning. So those first Scots Irish that left here and impacted on all our nations took foods with them. The likes of corned beef, cabbage, boxty, and names like the Gettys and the McCains would have taken those foods with them. Now, corned beef really was the biggest export in Ireland in the 16th and 1700s. And corned beef gets its name from the salt crystal that was used to corn or cure the beef, and it was the same size as a grain of corn. And the Irish would have sourced their salt from Portugal and the Mediterranean and France and that. So a great dish actually. They take to the New World and really popular now in America and throughout the world with the Irish diaspora.
A James Getty's found at Gettysburg in Pennsylvania, and I certainly know from a bit of research that I've done that there's clear that there was quite a significant Getty family in a townland called Ardnagunnog, just outside Eglinton, where a James Getty was, if you like, he was the most substantial farmer in that area. And when you looked at Griffith's valuation for 1858, he was farming 74 acres, and if you can imagine 150 years ago, that's a big farm. If you go back another generation, we know there was a Mr. Getty in Waterside here in 1740. And then if you go back another generation, you've got an interesting, a James Getty is listed as one of the fighters of Derry in William Young's Fighters of Derry. So this James Getty was within the walls of Derry during the siege of 1689. So you've got a James Getty that can go back. We've got a James Getty inside the walls of Derry in 1689. He signed a sort of the Londonderry Corporation Commission of 1690, where they were going to seek recompense from, the government in England to, for damages caused during the siege. But the thing is, we just have this name James Getty. Yeah. We know nothing about him other than there was a James Getty within the walls of Derry in 1689.
So you're saying actually there might have been a James Getty fought in the siege of Derry?
Oh yeah, I think it would be looked on as you're being fairly safe ground and saying that, a fact that there's a James Getty looking for recompense for losses during the siege would suggest he was probably within the walls in 1689.
It's very, very exciting, and I love the fact that, the way the food ties in with the history and how that has travelled the New World as well, And it'd be really exciting, as I say, to make a connection with the Gettys of Gettysburg and the John Paul Getty
very
connection,
Yeah, the one thing that's so significant about this city is that I would estimate in the 18th century about 75,000 Ulster Scots would have emigrated from the port here in sailing ships and going to whether it was Boston and later on into Philadelphia. And you could see how it is quite possible, you nearly could be almost certain that he would have got on an emigrant ship here in Derry, roughly where the Guildhall is today, because that's where the ship quay was, and headed for America. But the problem is, you're not going to go into the, there's nowhere here that has passenger departure lists for that time period. And even at the American end, it's hit and miss prior to 1820, where there's any lists that survive. But we know that over and over again, that story of people heading out from here, heading to the frontier, setting up businesses and doing well. It would be lovely if you were able. Well, it'd be lovely if you were able to get out to Gettysburg and identify, descendants of Sam, and to see if if the tradition within their family ties back that leads you to, if you like, proof positive that there's a connection with James Getty of Ardnagunnog.
So, we have a piece of corned beef here, ready. And this brisket has been cured and salted and spiced for up to a week, and then it's cooked for about 3 hours. As you can see the pink grain through it there, that's the curing process of the corned beef itself. And we have our boxty. This is another great dish that travelled the New World with the Scotch Irish and the Irish themselves. And really it's one of those dishes that developed on the American hash browns or the melting pot of other cultures. You have your Jewish latke, which is very similar to the boxty. And this boxty here has just been sliced potato, which is like slithers, if you like, of potato itself, and a wee bit of flour added and salt and pepper. So this is the boxty, and then we have our corned beef, and then another great accompaniment obviously is the cabbage. So we've got our lovely green spring cabbage here, and then another thing would have been really prominent at the time too would have been turnips. Turnips were in great demand in the 1800s. So a few turnips, and a really underrated vegetable it is. Lovely sweet turnips. Then you have your carrots. So what I've done really here is we're going to finish it with sauce where the spices have been used with the corned beef. The likes of star anise, cardamom pods, so a few of those spices that we've used to cure the actual corned beef itself will be used here for the sauce. There you have it, corned beef, boxty and cabbage, a modern interpretation. And is this like Ardnagunnick townland here we're on here?
Yeah,
or is
this is Ardnagunnick and this would be Ard House. My house is called Ard House. One of the people, the past residents, was William Getty Lynch, which was a relation of James Getty, but again, I don't know what.
Well, James Getty, apparently through my research anyway, James Getty is traced to this townland here, this area, you know, and Ardnagunnick is one of the places where apparently they're from themselves, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, they can be traced back to Siege of Derry as well.
Right.
But that's interesting about the stone there. It says 1869 on it. Yeah. And whereabouts did you find it exactly on the farm? Or?
Well, that shed over there, with the tin roof on it, that used to be a stone-built shed. But the walls at the front were starting to fall out, and we basically demolished it and put a new roof on it. And as I say, we kept the stone. So.
And are you related to the Gettys themselves, or would you be?
The Craigs are, yeah, they are. Don't ask me how close we are now, but we're a far out relation of the Gettys.
Right. Well, say people contacted me about the Gettys themselves, you know, and through family lore, they believe that John Paul Getty is actually related. So you may be related to John Paul Getty yourself, you know. So, which is good.
Interesting to know.